5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, yet again. Welcome along to show number 3 this evening, and it's being sponsored by Viagra, because I never knew I could do 3 in a night, but here I am. Welcome along. If you are joining us live, thank you very much. Do get your comments in, and they will appear somewhere there in the bottom when I press the correct button, which I have done now. We'll also smash that like button if you're in, and subscribe as well. Thank you very much. And if you're watching on catch up, muchas gracias. Still smash that like button. And if you're listening via your favourite podcast platform, thank you for lending me your ears. Look, let me get him in. We hunted high and low, trying to get an Oxford fan in tonight. Let's bring him in. Hello. Hello, Mr. Oxford.
Studio, buddy. Because you're too tin pot, I thought I'd turn up for you, mate, because no Oxford fan wanted to show themselves, did they, on the channel? I mean, talk about graciously appreciating maybe publicity for a club. No, just go and ask generously if someone can come on and they block you. Yeah, well, Oxford, I've never wanted Leicester to give a team a kick in so much in all my life. I actually liked Oxford until this one. I'm here, Chris, don't you worry. We'll save today. We'll do a show without the 4 Oxford supporters in the world.
Oh, I feel like it's me that saves the day because it's your show.
Well, yeah, but you were covering. We were all doing it.
It became. I mean, I messaged on X. I think I said 7 Oxford United sites,
which is almost impressive that you found 7 Oxford fans. Apparently, because they must be so hard to get a hold of and so pristine.
Well, it was interesting that most of them actually hadn't posted anything for about 3 or 4 years. So who knows? But maybe they're buried under the ground where they're going to build the 4th stand. I don't know. And the interesting thing is, and if anybody knows him, there is an Oxford fan who lives in Leicester and has actually called himself Leicester Yellow. And I messaged him. He didn't even reply back to me, and he blocked me. You know, that is how ignorant they are. I mean, I think they've been doing too much inbreeding.
I mean, with this lot, you never know, do you? I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it, Chris, because we're a footballing community where, you know, all right, let's put it on the back burner, the jokes aside. I just don't understand. We're supposed to be a football community. Then it doesn't matter whether you're little or large in your channel size, nothing else. Mind, nothing else, right? Why wouldn't you want to do some work? Why wouldn't you want to collaborate? Why wouldn't you want to help each team grow? Because this is away from the footballing side. We're not a league table. We're not, you know, we're not going to suddenly get 3 points for Leicester by, you know, bashing Oxford fans on it. Well, that's not what we do. And anyone that's seen our show, we relatively have great guests and we have a good laugh with them. So where's your ego check at? I'm sure there's some lovely Oxford fans out there that would have loved Chris to have contacted them. And like I say, all joking aside, you're more than welcome to join in. This was all just tongue in cheek. There's 7 individuals that decided to just
Well, no, it ended up being more. It ended up being 9.
Oh, well, the 9 individuals of Oxford. At least Chris did it for how many fingers I've got on each hand. 9, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but hey, Chris, you think they'd want to, but apparently not.
No, there you go. Apparently not, as you say. Look, I mean, are they embarrassed, do you think? I mean, look at that ground. I mean, this was a team that at one point were in the top flight. Back when it was the first division, I agree. But, and all right, Sheffield Wednesday have only got 3 stands at the moment because one of them's been shut down for safety. But when you look at that ground, I mean, it's embarrassing, isn't it? That is not a championship ground these days.
No, it's not. I mean, to be fair to Oxford, this is the first time they've been in and around the championship. I believe ever since it was renamed the Championship, and it is a big step up to make, and committing to extending and making a stadium to the level of league you're in. It's a long haul. I mean, I know Bournemouth are still. I think they're still stubbornly staying in capacity, but they've had to adapt to their stadium. Kenilworth Road had to do some adaptations to their stadium for one season, granted, but they did have to make them adjust.
In fairness to Watford, this is their second season in the Championship.
Yeah.
And I just think, like you say with Bournemouth, they've got a temporary stand that's been temporary for about the 15 years that I've been down here. It's held up with scaffolding. You don't celebrate too much when you're in that end. But I have to say that I've seen, because obviously I live down here, and I have seen Bournemouth's training ground, and it is up there with Leicester's. I mean, you'd think it'd have been designed by the same people. Yeah, it hasn't got a golf course, probably with a swimming pool, but it's a really, really nice, training ground. They're making an effort, but this is just sort of embarrassing. I mean, maybe this is why nobody replied to me, because they've got no fans, because they're obviously thinking, well, we don't need to build that 4th stand because we're never going to fill it.
Well, you sound like the Wilstone Raider there, didn't you? You got no fans. Chris. Maybe their following's not enough for them to want to do content and do it. And again, we all have a laugh and a joke. Take nothing that's that we've said. Well, apart from the guy who chose to block you, because that's just ridiculous. I mean, get your head out your arse, mate. But for the majority of them, they probably don't make content anymore. They're probably not interested in it. It could be something like that. Not all clubs have a steady following, and that's not to say that Oxford don't have a steady fan base. It could just be a case that they no longer make these sort of contents, or if they do, they only focus on their side of things. They're not interested in ways. We won't know. I'm sure with a deep dive we could find out, but maybe that's it, Chris. Maybe they just don't have the pull that other teams do. It's kind of like saying the Wigan fan base, isn't it? Because their side of things more rugby. Their Super League is where they get their support, But
to me, what I would say is, it doesn't take 2 minutes just to reply back and go.
No, that is the one that always caught me, mate. You'd rather get 9 replies saying sorry, mate, I don't do that thing, or I can't do it, than just blanking. It's just rude to me. There's no need for it.
No, 100%. 100%. I would agree with you. Talk to me about, and I'm sorry, I should let you start, shouldn't I? Because it's your show, sir.
Well, you should, but sometimes you can't get the stuff these days. So I'll just let you go on with it, Chris.
I just went into automatic mode then.
Yes. How are you, my Oxford fan?
I'm very well, thank you very much. How the devil are you, sir?
I'm very well, but now I'm going to have to block you now, I'm afraid. Now you've spoken to me, I'm instigated a conversation with me. I'm going to have to block you, I'm afraid.
Love it. Look, last week, shall I ask a question? I mean, I'm kind of confused.
You're in the mode, Chris. Go for it. You ask all the questions you like.
Well, you're going to ask some of me later, but last week, well, not last week, because it was 2 weeks ago, when we played Birmingham, I was really worried going into that game. I thought they were going to give us the strongest game that we'd had all season. This I'm not so worried about.
Yeah, which is probably, typical Leicester Q Oxford beating us, because the games we were probably worried about early doors, and it is still early doors, granted,
Yeah,
was Sheffield Wednesday. We were worried about it. We got through it. We won that game. All right, Preston didn't go our way, but we weren't really worried about Preston. In fact, I remember the Preston fan I had on, he was quite convinced Leicester would win that game.
yeah.
So that was fun to talk about after that one. The Charlton game, we were worried about it because they're an old side. They've been around the block when it comes to the Championship, and obviously they've spent a long time away from it. So their return, they're hungry. Your stats were they don't shoot in the box, they don't concede shots, and we beat them 1-0.
Yeah.
We were worried. Birmingham are kind of having that League One bounce. So again, we haven't really got going. They're going to beat us. We're comfortable, Chris, and I'm not saying that from bragging. That was the most comfortable win we've had all season in the first 4 games. 3 out of the 3 wins, that was the most comfortable win. Now we play an Oxford side away from home, and all of a sudden it's like, the shoe is on the other foot, as they would say, into French Revolution, apparently, because I'm French. But my point is, Chris, this is a game
I just say that I hate the French, by the way.
So do I. They give up so easily. But my point is, Chris, this is the game where we probably have the expectation, and I'm kind of glad it's away from home, because our home support, I hate to say it, and I don't care about too much the volume of the atmosphere, because there's a family stand and there's kids there and all that, but it feels a bit more toxic at home than it does away from home.
Yeah.
I think to get through the proverbial banana skin, away fans will enjoy it and be a bit more patient if Leicester take a while to break Oxford down tomorrow. It's an early bird catches the worm, isn't it, Chris, as well? It's not a 3 o'clock leisurely stroll in the park either, is it?
No, it's another early bloody kickoff. I finish work at 10 and I've got to be back in at 12 to start the show. Thank you, Sky.
I know. This is what happens when you're the Man City of the Championship, isn't it,
Well,
Chris?
true. This is true.
We've got a few games on. We've had a few games, and we've got a few more on Sky to come, or BT Sport, whichever one they're on.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, look, I feel confident in that. Is there any reason that I shouldn't?
Just mainly because it's typical Leicester, isn't it? I've always said infamously, Leicester, the only thing Leicester are consistent at is being inconsistent.
Yeah.
Probably only last season was the only time we were scarily consistent, and look what happened. Maybe the Premier League winning one aside, but it doesn't continue, so it's still inconsistent. And it would just be typical of Leicester to go to Oxford full of confidence. Obviously, it's that head of a coin, isn't it? You're either in bad form and just wanting an international break to have a breather and restart, or you're on a roll like Leicester and you're cursing the internationals. I mean, I'm cursing the international breaks regardless. You know my opinion.
Well, I'm getting that way, mate, because I never watched either of them.
No, they're just pointless. Paint dry. I'd rather watch dry paint try and dry some more than the internationals.
Yeah.
But my point is, Chris, it can kill the momentum. Now, I'm sure it won't. In fact, it's probably, in a weird way, benefited Leicester because they did 90% of their transfer action on deadline day, as we know, Chris. As we know, someone called it. Thank you very much. You're welcome. We'll be here all week. But my point is, it's given them a chance to come back from their internationals, some of them, but also bond with their teammates, get to know teammates if they didn't go away. The lads that did go on international duty, which would have been the majority of them with our squad, kept working on Marty's way. The only thing is, what are Oxford going to do? If they know how to try and block Leicester from the start, they're going to stick 4, maybe a back 5, or maybe a 4 with a CDM right in front of that back line. They're going to try and frustrate Leicester. And we saw what Preston did, Chris. it's not always about having 20 chances against Leicester and hoping to take one or two or not get blocked out like we did against Birmingham. Sometimes you get 2 good chances, you stick them both in the net, and that's exactly what Preston did. And if Oxford can manage to do that, that could be the banana skin. And that's where I think, that's where you get ahead of your game. You start looking at teams and getting a bit arrogant, if you will. You kind of go, it's Oxford. Just what we need after the international break. I'd rather be fired up for an M69 derby than an Oxford in all reality, because some of the players might come back with that attitude, Chris.
Yeah. I might leave our temporary stand alone, he says. I've never known anything temporary last 15 years, mate. But, hey, I love Bournemouth. But look, I mean, our start to the season, I've been really pleased with. Better than I thought. Obviously, the big thing is, how many points we're going to get deducted. I mean, if we were called Chelsea, we'd just get a fine. But apparently, we're not, and we're called, we're part of the Everton, Forest, Leicester conglomerate, so we'll get a points deduction. But if you'd have given me this position at the start of the season with the players that we had left over from last season, and let's face it, were fucking awful, I'd be biting your hand off.
Yeah, I think given the circumstances and given a lot of neutrals' feelings that, okay, they will probably include a points deduction in their thinking, but not a lot of other fan bases had Leicester in their top 6. Maybe some put us in the playoffs, but they weren't thinking automatic. That's for sure, Chris. And I know we're 4th and it's not automatic, but the fact that, this manager had a month less than Enzo did, had to make a huge clear out, which we won't know until in a few years' time, could be the things that saves this club from big turmoil with what he's done in that transfer window, which is get rid of a lot, bring money in and spend that full, minus obviously wages on the loan agreement side, which may be all Leicester, we don't know. But the thing is, Chris, he's had a month less, 1 pre-season game, which, to be fair, he was basically a supporter in the crowd for what it was worth for that game, for what he took in for it. He's got a new idea, and we've spoken about that on post-matches. He's had good ideas. He's changed things around. He's trying to build a team that matches his idea and his game plan. There's a lot of debuts. There's a lot of youngsters coming through. And the fact that you've got 3 wins out of 4, I think a lot of teams would be happy with that as a start. Because I looked down the league table and I couldn't find red hot favourite Sheffield United anywhere. I couldn't find them, Chris. And I'm looking at other teams that spent big money, and I looked for an Ipswich, couldn't find them. Southampton, couldn't find them. I know that's not a dig at them teams, but it is a little bit. But I'm not, if you looked at the early season comparisons, and again, granted, I understand people taking a potential points deduction into their equation, they were 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I'm not seeing them. I'm seeing a Stoke City, and I'm seeing a Leicester City, and I'm seeing a Coventry City, and I cannot remember the actual other 2 teams in and around the top 4. The other team in and around the top 4. Middlesbrough, but I'm not seeing any of the other red hot favourites. I'm sure that will come to fruition over the course of the season. You never know. But right now, Chris, we are probably defying most people's expectations to be where we are going into September.
I'm going to bring this up because we've just done the prediction show, and I have to say well done to Brad, who sat there top with almost double points that I've got. If there's ever 2 presenters that actually aren't right for the show, that's me and Josh on the prediction show. But this is the slide that I used on there for our game. Now, I found a site that actually gives a win probability for this game, and we've got a 49% probability that we will win this game. I mean, that's quite high, isn't it?
It is, and again, you look at both clubs' starts you know, ours is probably all a little bit naturally expected, that given our size of the club and the calibre of players we've kept behind. I always say, if you're going to try and predict anything, firstly, if it scores, listen to me. Secondly,
Can't argue, mate.
it won't last. I'll make most of it. But if it's a league table, whether it's Premier League, whether it's Championship, whatever team you're supporting, whatever league they're in, don't make it until the transfer window closes, because you're now seeing how it's going to go forward, and you're looking at Oxford's form. Are they going to do what happened with Plymouth, Chris? Is it the fact that the second season, because they had Ben Nelson, who's going to be on our bench, potentially available for the game on loan? They haven't been able to have that pull. They haven't been able to have that law to kind of go, come to Oxford. And it's difficult, and I understand that it could be difficult for a side like Oxford, for teams in and around that nature, to kind of try and negotiate a deal when, okay, financially at that point we probably couldn't. But if you're a player of any, worth his weight, Chris, and you get told Oxford have bidded for you, but Leicester are interested for you, you're probably going to try and hold out hoping Leicester can move things around and get things done. And again, it sounds disrespectful, I know, but that's just the nature of the beast that is football. It's like Leicester trying to sign somebody, and then the deal's nearly done, and then Arsenal coming for him. All jokes aside, he's going to go Arsenal unless he actually wants to play properly first team football. You know what I mean? He's going to go to Arsenal 9 times out of 10. And I just feel like Oxford, I think they're one of the teams that joined us, didn't they, Chris? They haven't spent any money, or it's not a lot they spent.
No, just looking, actually, they've actually signed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 players. 6 they paid for and 1's on loan.
Yeah.
Interestingly, this is also the club whose fans said Ben Nelson is too good for Leicester City.
Well, there you go then, Chris. That they must have felt they struck gold, and they must have been hoping in a way, probably nearer, earlier in the season after we beat Tottenham, not near the end of the season when they know all hopes are. They're probably hoping Leicester could have stayed up, and then maybe they could have worked out another loan deal, or even got Ben Nelson when they're saying, hope that you'd want to go to them, because despite their Twitter fan base being too high and mighty to come on a channel, I'm sure Oxford's a lovely club to go and play for in its own right. So I just feel like that. There you go, Chris. It's kind of like a team like Oxford for at least the next 3 or 4 years have to, by hook or by crook, find a way to keep themselves at that bottom 3, and then you become a target. You look at Bristol City, Chris. They're the perfect example. They came up into the Championship. Now, they've been in and out of the Championship Division 1 days as well, granted. But it's only been over the last few seasons that they've sort of gone from, oh my God, we're staying up, oh, thank God for that, to having a good start. I know they had I'm not particularly sure where they are in the league now. I think they might have.
Bristol, I can tell you, young man, Bristol City are in 6th place.
Yeah, so they're in the playoff space. Now, again, we're talking 44 out of, we're talking 42 games to go. Obviously, I get that. But when was the last time? Last season they were up and in and around the mix, weren't they, Chris? So, yes. And I think they've been in the playoffs, actually. So it's not...
I'm just going to check your maths. How many games to go?
Oh, well, I mean, I would only... You tell you what, you do that maths and I'll figure out how many points you'll get if you get a point per game this season. But the thing is, Chris... You know what I mean? That's the prime example that Oxford want to be looking at. If Bristol City can dig in deep, maybe be a bit stubborn. I think there was one player that we went for and this is going back a few years, Chris, Nicky Maynard. I think he was at Bristol City, and we couldn't get the deal done. We weren't going to pay their fee. And again, he helped keep them in that division for a few seasons by being their top goal scorer. If they can do that, that's the platform to base it off. Maybe in 5-6 seasons' time, they will be that level. But right now, I can imagine it just feels really difficult to not look at Plymouth Argyle and go, oh, we can't do that this season. We can't go straight back to League One, because you do end up worrying, will we become like a chart-topping one-hit wonder? Will we have one season in the Championship and that's it? There's a few teams that have had only 2 or 3 seasons in the Championship.
I mean, looking at Oxford, where they've been, this is like I say, this is the second season that they've been in the Championship. They then before that had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years in League One, several years in League Two. They even dropped down to the conference back in. They had 4 seasons. Bloody hell, 4 seasons in the conference from 06 to 10, with different managers. But if you go back to 1996, 97, 97, 98, 98, 99, they were in the top division. They were in Division 1.
Yeah, so they have known what it's like to be in this division. I know it's changed names over the years. I go the Championship, but I also think the division itself it evolved as an entity, Chris. I mean, you're talking teams now that are in League One, League Two were mainstays in that division, who were kind of going through that revolving door. You've got Barnsley, League One, that they were a regular in the Premiership in the early 90s. Revolving door, but they were there. Bolton Wanderers. We'll remember that game, Chris.
I'd rather not remember it.
Well, I know, I'm trying to raise it, but the drink doesn't do enough. But my point is, League One, you've got Sheffield Wednesday, right bottom of the Championship right now, but you have Bradford City, who made an appearance in there, and so it just shows you how much time has evolved and changed over the years. Your Readings weren't a regular in that division back then. Your Bristol Cities weren't a regular as they have been back then. Hell, not even your Middlesbroughs really. They were another team that were in the Premier League. They stabled eventually and stayed up. So it has come a long way from the nationwide Division 1. As it became known as that.
I've got to say, and if he is tuning in, and I don't think he will be, I have a friend, actually, Mark, how you doing, mate, who is an Oxford City fan, and he would have come on. He was the first one I went to, because obviously he was a mate, and he would have come on, but he's got a fantastic job. He actually spends more time abroad than he does in this country. I don't know what he sells. He sells something industrial, but he has like 90 odd flights a year. The guy must do really well on his air miles. But look, so Mark, I wasn't having a go at you there, because you did say you wanted to come on, but you, as I say, you're in a different country. I mean, back in those days, John Aldrich was the top scorer. First season in Division 1, he scored 31 goals. And I'll tell you what, they won the League Cup that year. Bloody hell. And then they had, who else did they have then? They had Dean Saunders. He came in, he was their top goal scorer for a while. Jim Magilton, do you remember him?
Yes.
Joey Beauchamp, Dean Windass again, he came back. They've had, they've had the success, but I mean, and they didn't have a bad owner. It was Kassam, wasn't it? Didn't it, or did he own Red? No, he didn't own. It was Kassam, wasn't it?
Oh, you stretching my knowledge. You're stretching my knowledge.
And he built. Because if you look at that stadium, it's actually not bad for the 3 stands that they've got up there. But it seems to have gone wrong for them. They're back. They finished last season. They finished pretty much. I think it was around 15th, something like that. They didn't have a bad season last season, but a lot of people's favourites to go down. But when you do look at their summer spending, I mean, they bought. Here we go. Are you ready for this? Brian de Kirschmacher.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's coming from. He's coming from Horrades. Brodie Spencer's from Huddersfield Town. Luke Harris from Fulham. Nick Pretchick from Caligari. Wilf Lincolnshire. He's from Tottenham Hotspur, apparently. He was on loan. In fact, most of these are on loan, actually. Ben Davis from Rangers on loan, Glasgow Rangers, and Philip Kraslev from Lomeleske. So there's only Brodie Spencer and Brian de Kirschmack. You were quite right, I apologise, that have come in as paid. Did they have a good window? I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, they haven't had a good start. If we will see.
Again, you go back to the big issue that you have when you go.
I don't buy those.
Well, that again, I'm not saying anything. You go back to the problem that we were just talking about, Chris. It's the stature of a club, and it's not meant in a disrespectful way. It's the same when you go up to the Premier League. It's the same when you get from the Conference to League Two. You have to build your reputation there, and unfortunately, players. I suppose they might have always been in a way, but they're quite self-centered. And if you're trying to get a player through the door to come and play in the Championship, and he's a little bit like Championship, Premier League's a goal, he's going to look at Oxford and think, who's this? I don't they do boat racing or something like that? You know what I mean? That's why and again I say it tongue in cheek, but I'm just trying to think like. Whereas if you're thinking, I want to go England, I'm not hearing anything about the Premier League clubs, but Leicester. Oh, I know Leicester, or even Middlesbrough. Oh, I know Middlesbrough. Where are they? Oh, they've had a good start. Well, Leicester have the history, so did Middlesbrough. I'd take either of them to try and get back in the Premier League. And if not, I get my name known, I might even get the move anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas Oxford, you have that looks like a big fish in a small pond thing. And we had that with Mahrez, didn't we? How he turned out for him. He ended up being that. So unfortunately, in this day and age of football, Chris, they've got to take what comes their way. And they probably, and again, Oxford fans, please correct me if I'm wrong here, they probably don't have the budget to go at it. You look at the spending average in the Championship, Chris. I think last time we was in the Championship, we got a lot of backlash for fans saying, "Oh, look at that! Here you go, another parachute payment FC," because they're spending, 10 times more than half the league can afford. Yeah. So that doesn't help. And then obviously the longer the window goes, the more impossible it becomes for them to probably get players through the door just off that basis alone.
So, like I say, 49% win probability to us. That's nearly double Oxford at 25, 26 for the draw. Look at Oxford's start. I mean, they started off with 3 losses. They actually got, in fairness, I didn't think they'd get this, but they got a point against Coventry 2 weeks ago with a 2-2 draw. And fair play to them, because I thought Coventry would batter them because they've had a really good start. But they lost to Birmingham 1-0. They lost to Hull 3-2, and they lost to Portsmouth on the opening day 1-0. So they've not actually, in fairness, got battered by anybody, have they?
No, they've not, and that will give them encouragement, Chris, because there is. If you're going to have a bad start to the season, there is 2 ways it starts. You either lose 5-0 to Bolton, and the writing's on the wall. Let's face it, Chris. Let's give it as it is. You either have a. Sorry, my phone's frying up on me. I don't know what's going on. you either have a start like that and the writing's on the wall from game number one, really, or you stick in there and you see a performance. And I'm fairly certain that the Oxford fans will look at them results and maybe even the performances, Chris. I'm sure they'll have gone to the games and gone, you know what, the start's been rough. And like you said, Chris, getting that point, against Coventry, that's a huge point for them, the way Frank Lampard's got Coventry going this season. You would go, well, all we need is a bit of luck. And maybe we could do a Preston and nick something from Leicester, even if it's another draw. They'll be up for this, Chris. And okay, the longer it goes on, the more the confidence will go from them, and then you might see the writing on the wall. But if they can just get that result, Chris, and you feel like it's something that if they put in a good performance and have another 1-0 against us. Yeah. They could turn that corner. That's what they've got to look at. They're not getting battered off the park each week. And whilst that's the case, there's still a chance they can turn that around.
And of course, does that remind you of anybody? Yes, it reminds you of Leicester City when we were in the Premier League. Because although we had a fairly decent start, we had a draw, and obviously we had a Man United win in the early days. But although we kept losing every week, we weren't getting battered.
Yeah. That was, and we all know what happened after that. That was the case, though, Chris, where take us back in a time machine and grab them by the scruff of the neck and tell them to stick by him, because we weren't getting battered. For a small portion of last season, Chris, we were both sat here going, well, okay, we lost this game, but you look at our goal difference. That could be worth a point. It was worth nothing in the end because of how bad it was. But at that point, Chris, it could be. And that's what Oxford are going to look at. Right now, they've got a plus point on Sheffield United, on Sheffield Wednesday, who have suffered defeats of a couple of goals or more. So they'll just want to take the positives out of it, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, again, Leicester, we've only lost the one, which was against Preston. Away from home, we've won and lost, whilst at home, Oxford have drawn and lost. But when you look at the goals conceded, they've scored 4 and conceded 7, Oxford. We've scored 6 and conceded 3. I have to say, looking at that, Oxford's defence, we're going to come on to picking the team later, but Oxford's defence looks a little bit dodgy, and I can't say his name, Canava, whatever the new striker's called, he must be chomping at the bit.
Yeah, you'd imagine that for him, he's seen this as the ideal game to really go at. And from that perspective, Chris, the other signings, JJ, not the left back who formerly played right back, our new JJ, because...
the player formerly known as...
Yeah, the player formerly... I like that. The player formerly known as JJ and Aaron Ramsey, they might be thinking, and we know, Chris, that Page is going to have a late pre-game fitness test. They don't want to really get into this Oxford team. Like you said, 7 goals in 4 games conceded. If there's ever a time for Leicester's attacking impetus to show itself with Fatawu, Mavididi, JC, Ramsey and JJ in that, this is potentially the game to do it. Do I see a 4-5-0? No, but I do see Leicester could potentially almost do what they did against Birmingham, fairly comfortably see off Oxford and get a comfortable looking win.
I thought Birmingham was going to be the team that gave us the most problems when I first saw the fixtures. And look, XG, they're at 1. It's not often that we actually look and Leicester have got a higher XG than our opponents. Ours is 1.6. They're 22nd in the league. We're 4th. Both Josh and me have gone for an away win. Josh has gone 2-1. I've gone 3-1. And it's Carranza. I'm going to learn Carranza. Goal probability 2 or 3 being the most likely there'll be the number of goals that scored. Let's go straight in for your prediction then. Because, okay, Josh has gone 2-1 Leicester. I've gone 3-1.
I'm going to go.
Mr. Top of the Prediction League. Let's see what you say.
Just to confirm, Chris, that all predictions have all been locked in before someone tries to copy my own work. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it'll be the same as Birmingham, Chris. I think it'll be a solid, comfortable display, first of all. And I think Leicester will come away with a 2-0 away win.
I wouldn't dispute that.
Because I'm top.
Is Craig going to be on a hat trick of zeros this week? That's the question.
Well, he can't be on a hat trick of zeros, but he can be out. He is a meatloaf. And what I mean is 2 out of 3 ain't bad. He did get a point, I believe. But Craig, wherefore art thou, Craig? Craig got a whopping 2 points. I mean, it didn't do much for him, but
no. I mean, you look at Leicester and look, and what I'm looking at this Leicester side is we've got a good manager now, and I did a show the other day that now we've had the transfer window, are we promotion ready? Depending obviously on the number of points we get deducted. But like you said earlier, a manager whose first game was the last pre-season, a manager who has not known what players he's going to be starting with each game because we were selling left, right, and centre, and he'd probably have picked a team and then had it pulled from under him because we'd sold JJ or something. And yet, despite all that, we've got 3 wins and we lost only by a single goal against Preston. That, I've got to say, Marty Cifuentes, take a bow.
Yeah, and we spoke about this just before the international break, Chris, didn't we? I think he's gone, and again, I'm a Leicester fan, you're going to say that. It's easy to do it when you've got £1 million. Well, you say that. Again, I point you back to clubs that have got millions of pounds worth of talents and are falling down the table quicker than a chunky person rolling down to the EastEnders theme tune down a set of stairs. I was going to say your mum joke, but you have to be careful these days with them.
You do.
But it is impressive, Chris, and it's criminally underrated. I don't know what the awards were, if there was any given out for August, but he should have been in the talking point for Manager of the Month. I know people say, "Oh, Manager of the Month, we don't want that curse," and we all know that. I think I remember infamously Martin O'Neill won it before we played Chelsea back in 1996, 97. We lost 4-2 that game, so let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I know it sounds a bit silly of a reward, but given everything, Chris, given the lack of preparation time, the revolving door that was happening through with players going out, and it was like a DFS sale, everything must go. To get away, to come away with that with 9 points out of 12, I think is pretty impressive. And again, you look at other teams that should be doing a lot better than Leicester, who really aren't. I think he deserves a bit more recognition.
Well, the Sky Bet manager nominees were Rob Edwards at Middlesbrough. This is for August. Frank Lampard at Coventry City. Ryan Mason at West Bromwich Albion. Mark Robbins at Stoke City. No, Marty Cifuentes in there.
Okay, all them names, barring one, I agree with. Where are West Brom in the league and what have they been doing?
Well, West Brom in the league are actually second.
Okay, that's surprising.
That's shot you down, hasn't it?
No, then fair play. But them names you mentioned, you see, because first of all, I'm surprised you didn't say Frank Lampard's name. I can't believe I'm uttering them words, but the guy's finally in a league that suits his own. But because West Brom
didn't say Frank Lampard.
Did you? I thought.
Yeah.
But because the only reason I said that about West Brom, maybe it's their last result that's hounding me, but they couldn't beat 10 men Portsmouth, could they?
I mean, look, we do know the EFL don't like us, but you look in there at what at the end of August was the top 4.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're looking at that and thinking. I mean, right now, Chris, if that was it, Donald Trumped it, we stopped the count. I mean, looking at that table, how many people do you reckon would have gone Stoke, West Brom, Middlesbrough, Leicester for their top 4?
No, not many.
Not necessarily even in that order, Chris. I don't think there's many that would have got them in a genuine top 4. And I am aware my camera's gone off. Sorry, I am. But I don't think there's anybody out there. And if there is, you're either a liar or absolutely wild and I want whatever you're smoking. Yeah. To say that your top 4 in no particular order would have been West Brom, Stoke, Leicester and Middlesbrough.
Yes. Look, let me come to this with you. And I've found this new site, which, like I say, gives me a win probability rather than, a gamble thing. So that's been a 49% chance of winning, they are saying. Apparently, and it doesn't give me an explanation, but it also gives us offense and defense. And I was really trying to find out what they were basing that on, because it didn't. It doesn't say, and I don't know. But our defense.
And an American come up with defense.
I know, isn't it? But our offense is 36%, and our defense is 62%. Now that doesn't add up to 100%. So I don't get what they are actually getting with that, but I'm sure it means something.
If it means something to you, it's all digits and numbers to me, Chris, on defense. I mean, we're not American, and that's an Americanized statistic way of doing things. 4 points something. That's just. I'll be honest with you. I might not be the greatest lover of stats, but I do kind of understand them, and that's even got me confused with 4 points and 2 points something. I look at goals scored and goals conceded and say we're the stronger of the two sides, attacking and defending.
Yeah. I'm just trying to work out exactly where they are based. No, it's just saying .com, so could be anywhere. No, it's not saying. Anyway, that's the thing. But so looking at this, I think we should probably. Should we pick the team?
Oh, go on then, Chris. Let's pick the team before it starts picking itself.
Yes, exactly. Now, let me just see if I can get something up that we can do this live on screen. This is my third show, and I've literally had 5 minutes between shows, so I'm completely not ready for these. But I'll just see if I can do a picking the team.
Wasn't there an X11 builder or something like that?
Yeah, I'm just wondering where I put them. Here we go, lineup builder. Let's have a look if we can use this one. Yes, we can. Let's use this one. So if I share the screen, sir, and this is going to be quite interesting because I wonder how much we will agree on here. So
yeah, well, let's get the elephant out of the way. We all know that Woutface is playing in goal, Woutface is playing centre back, Woutface is playing right back, and Woutface is playing left back, and everywhere over the pitch, Chris. We just get that one out of the way for you.
Yeah. In fact, we can't even we can't even see that, can we? It's too small. So let's go back to that. So look, we're going to go 4-3. 4-3-3. No, we're not. We're going to go 4-2-3-1 because that's his first choice. He likes to start games with that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And I think we would agree, would we not, that we're going to put Stolarczyk in goal.
No, we're going to put Asmir Begovic in. Yeah, of course it's Stolarczyk, mate. Yeah, of course it's Stolarczyk. It's got to be Stolarczyk.
I mean, we've got the new keeper, which I'm guessing will now be on the bench, who I'm not overly impressed with. I know I sort of wanted a goalkeeper to come in, but no, I'm not.
Can't please everybody, can you, folks? I want a goalkeeper. I don't like this goalkeeper.
I just look at his record and it's not brilliant. But look, yeah, Stolarczyk in goal. All right, let's go left back. Who are you going to have in at left back?
It's got to be Luke Thomas.
Yeah.
Personally, Christensen's only just coming back to training, and right now Luke Thomas is deserving of holding down his position.
No, I agree. I agree totally. He's done nothing wrong, really, or outstandingly wrong. Right back. Now this could be interesting.
Right back. Ooh. I think. Do you want him coming off the bench or do you want him run out from the start? Now, you know what? I'm going to change my mind. Not that you knew what my original answer was, but
I want to say, from what?
I was going to go Ricardo, but for hustle and bustle and running around, I'm going to actually go to Hamza Chowdhury. Because I think going forward, getting late in the second half on a leggy side, you want to be able to put Ricardo on as a forward wing back, kind of overlapping Fatawu, than you want it from the start. Because Hamza's a bit more defensive minded, and I just think we need to keep a little bit of a cagey eye on things for the first half of the game. This is where we're going to disagree, I'm guessing, Chris.
Right. I'm just looking to see on the injury situation because he's mentioned Page before. Bobby Reed, you won't be able to pick him. He's still injured.
Good, stay injured, like that French Englishman Ryan Bertrand.
What are you saying? I'm going to disagree with you here.
Shock horror.
Yes, because
Jordan Blackwell.
I get what you're saying about Chowdhury, but I've got to say you start with your best players, and we put round pegs in round holes. And if Ricardo is fit, surely he's got to start.
That's the question, Chris. If he's fit. Does Marty rather keep building him up and building strength back into his legs and not rushing back like previous managers did with other players? We all saw what that did to Madsen's form last season. Granted, the back line and the team didn't help that, but we look at Ricardo. He's just not recovered. And the one time he was able to have a decent season and recover was because Enzo spaced him out a bit, kind of let him recover, light training on his return, and he was ready, for that opening game. Hamza stepped in when he needed him to. I feel like that's the way Marty's got to go. He's got no reason to rush Ricky back. I know he did the sort of 15 minutes in his game back, and then he did the 75 against Birmingham. But this is a game, Chris, where I feel you need some hustle and bustle and some urgency, and you're going to have a packed midfield. I want to drive that ball into the midfield. And I think Hamza gets a tackle and gets a ball, sprays it straight into a midfielder.
But do you not feel that Oxford, like you say, conceded 7 goals in 4 games? That's nearly 2 goals a game. They need to be attacked. And Ricardo, he attacks even from right back. I just feel you've got, as long as he's fit, and if he's not fit yet, then why, look, I love Ricardo, but if he's not going to be picked, if he's not going to play, let's dump him.
Well, when we were talking about it early doors, Chris, before we even knew who our manager was, because we still had the biggest clown known since Peter Taylor at the club, didn't we? So,
Yeah.
But I would say, is it worth, for all that he does, Ricardo Pereira has suddenly become the biggest if in world football, because if he's fit and if he's able to play 90 minutes, he's the best right back by a country mile. The idea of Ricardo's quality being in the Championship is absolutely mind-boggling if he's fit, but he's just not. And I would have been saddened, but I would have understood why Marty went, sorry, mate, I need you out the door as well. And I'm sure some Italian club or some Spanish club would have picked him up. But credit to the commitment to the club, it's a dying breed to have a player like that. I didn't even flinch at the idea of wanting out over these past few seasons, despite what's gone on. But I am waiting now for maybe in January, maybe next season, depending on what league we're in, the move between, the transition of moving Ricardo on becomes a real strong possibility. Marty's got to play him smart. If you're going to get the most out of him, if you're going to milk the cow dry, Chris, you don't want to break the udder on the first fucking big milking session of it, do you? You don't want to cripple him and he's out for 4 months because you rushed him back. Not when you're only 4 games into a season. So that's why I went Hamza as well. I still feel like he maybe does 50, comes on after 60 minutes.
Well, should we agree to disagree on that?
Yeah, why not?
Why not, indeed? Right, I'm just going to look at how do you spell Stolarczyk?
Stolarczyk. I think there's a CK in there.
Let me get this up. While we're doing that, give me one of your centre back.
Look, I'm going to go for someone who I really wanted to flourish last season. Until I learned how to pronounce his name, I used to say the number 5 is going to score 4 for us. That's Caleb Okoli. It continues the Redemption FC art for me. I said this was a player. I see that you're trying to work something in the background, Chris. I'll use this chance to talk because you don't usually allow me much time to talk. He was a player that there was whispers around in the window, and it was perfectly understandable if he'd have gone through the window after how he'd been treated. But I thought he was a player that probably came back kind of like, oh yeah, I'll train, I'll get my head down. I'm sure a move will materialise. Starting. That's new. Well, I'll probably play a game, play amazing, and then get dropped again. So I won't think much of it. Bang. Played. Cool. I'm playing at least. At least his manager seems to like me. I'm going to start in 11 again. No. Oh, well, hold on a minute. Oh, no, don't jump the gun. But then maybe I can stay here. Maybe I can still revive my future here at Leicester. Okay, we're going to play the cup game. I didn't get picked. That's fine. I'm in the next league game. I'm in the team again. You know what I mean, Chris? I think like the mentality shift has just helped him come on leaps and bounds a bit. And he's still a young player. And it's crucial that you keep that mentality around while he's young. Get his confidence in. And I know you're going to do. Have you done the press conference thing?
That's tomorrow.
Well, I won't say too much on what he said about what he's potentially said about him as a player and him playing, but that must have really got him going. I mean, unless it's AC Milan and that becomes true, I'm actually really happy here now because of what you'll talk about on tomorrow's shows. I won't say anything else, but Caleb Okoli is steadily becoming first name on the team sheet behind Stolarczyk for me, Chris.
Well, I have got to say,
you've got to have it, please, because I've been talking so long, even my throat
I'm going to say I agree with you 100%. I am so glad that this guy stayed with us. And the reason that I kept you waiting so long was because I wanted to do this. Again, I don't know if you can see that at all. You
I mean,
can't.
you can. At the end of the day, people listening will hear what we're saying anyway, especially if they're on our favourite podcast platforms. But you can have it on there just to fill it out. It's up to you.
Let me, because I found something else which actually is better, which was why I wanted you to carry on talking. But there we go. You see, that's not too bad, is it? So this is
No,
the
that's good.
back. Yeah,
That's like FIFA. FIFA
yeah,
fan.
it is. It is indeed. Look, I agree. Acoli to me was an amazing. Hi, James. How you talking? How are you? How are you doing? Are you joking about getting rid of Ricardo? Agreed. I think he's our best defender, only because of his injury status, James.
Yeah, yeah.
You
This
know,
is yeah. Sorry, Chris.
what I said was, if he is fit, he should be the first name on the, one of the first names anyway on the team sheet. He is amazing. If we're saying about a player and we're having to say, well, we've got to coach him through the season, I get coaching him back into the team, but having to sort of wrap him in cotton wool. He's a bloody defender. He's supposed to be getting in on tackles, etc. So yeah, I think I think he's right, and I've put Chowdhury up there because that's your choice, and so I'm going with your choices first. But I disagree with Chowdhury. But Acoli, I'm glad he's not gone. He was treated. The only player I think that was treated worse than him was Koulibaly.
Yeah, and at least his managers managed to find him out of the cupboard and send him out on loan somewhere.
Yeah, and fair play, and I hope he does really well because we were shit for him. But I am so glad. I mean, scored a goal last season and he was dropped. Well, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Now, this is going to be interesting. I think I know who Marty would put in there, but who are you putting in there?
It's hard to drop a centre-back pairing that have worked and gelled so well together. And the Birmingham performance, I mean, yeah, you look at the stats, but it was one of them that deceived. They didn't have a shot inside that. Well, they had one shot inside our box the whole entire game, Chris, and we kept them out under lock and key for the majority of it. To be perfectly honest with you, I would be tempted to put Ben Nelson in because he knows the majority of that squad. He knows.
That's a good point.
He knows how their defence defend because he would have trained against it. He would have known how their attackers are going to come at him. He would have known their weaknesses in the box. And he may have that information in where he goes, hey, Martin, just so you know, boss, I'm, just giving you, just as a player to gaffer info here, number so-and-so and so-and-so, if you stick Vestergaard or myself on them, they ain't gonna have a chance because I know he does this. But I think he's going to be Vestergaard. I want to play Ben Nelson, and I'm again. I'll let you discuss it. I'm not going to say anything because I know he's mentioned him on Twitter and in his press conference a bit. Ben Nelson, his time will come.
But this is the team that you want to see.
I'm gonna have to use a logic, Chris. You can't break up a clean sheet back pairing for me. It has to be Vestergaard. I think you use Ben Nelson as your little understudy, your little mole, if you will. Well, not really a mole, but you know what I mean. Someone who can give you the info and do it. But I am gonna stick with Vestergaard because again, Chris, whether it's his level, maybe that's it. But he's impressed me again this season so far.
Okay, I'm going to. This hasn't pick the right formation up for me here.
Don't worry about it. We can understand that one of them's going to be attacking midfielder. Don't worry about it. You'll know who my CDM is if you're going to say that in that. So
This is, well, yes, no, it should be a 4-2-3-1. But we'll come back onto that. I'm going to disagree with you. I mean, James agrees with you. He says it has to be Vestergaard. And he's done nothing wrong. And I agree with you about not breaking up a two, that's playing well. But I wouldn't pick Vestergaard.
Oh, your love child. You're not picking poor Vestergaard. If you're hearing this, just because he doesn't want you anymore, I will adopt you. Go on, Leicestergaard, as he was called when we signed him. I'll bring you home. Jess likes him. She has a soft spot for him. We can come live with us. Well, I'll make him a 6'8" hamster cage. He'll be fine.
You hated him before, don't you? Pretend to like him now. I'll tell you who I would put in there, and you made a very strong argument for Nelson. That maybe from training he knows what they can do. He was James. I'm not, I'm totally not, ignoring that at all. This is Vestergaard's level. He is very good at this level. I'd like to see Wout Faes in there.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh dear Christ! No! Clip this. 1 minute, 1 hour, 6 minutes, and then 15 seconds. Chris's new love child. Breaking news. Wout Faes. You heard it here. You do not do not clean your ears out. Do not go and ring the emergency doctors to get yourself syringed, because you heard it correctly, folks. At 1 hour and 6 minutes and whatever second he was on it, just clip it for us. Chris loves Vestergaard. The wig has infected his brain. We have converted him into a pan.
Yeah, no, I do. I like Vestergaard. I think you got the name wrong there.
I meant Faes. You know what I meant.
It's not letting me pick a team now, for God's sake. But the thing is, when Faes has come on at the end, he's been really, really good. All right, he could end up going to Turkey, but their window closes tomorrow.
I was going to say, time's a ticking, Chris.
It is, exactly. If he doesn't go, I'm not particularly bothered. I'd be quite happy that he's staying.
Well, I mean, Chris, it gives you 4 solid centre-back options, doesn't it?
Mm.
You have Faes, Nelson on the bench. You have a Coley, Vestergaard. And we always say this every year as well, Chris. The Christmas period comes around, you're gonna have to go Nelson, Vestergaard, Faes, Coley rotating the start, because the games just come too thick and fast. Yeah, we all know what happens. Just when you're stuffed full of turkey and Christmas pudding and whatnot, the FA Cup comes up when you fall to the brim, so you've got an extra game on top of that just when you get through the Christmas madness. So, yeah, I'd be happy to keep him. I'm very surprised. I think the wig's had an effect on you. But you've decided, you want Wout Faes in there. But, wow.
Yes. Yeah, I do. I do, indeedy. He's not available, obviously. It's not allowing me, for some reason, to change the formation. Oh, here it is. Here it is.
Oh God! You give your granddad technology, kids. This is what happens.
Fuck off. Right. Okay. Let's see. Well, I've said it will allow me to do it. I don't know if it will. 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're back in the room.
God, I hate this. I've never used this one before. This is why. So we've basically. So would you be happy if Faes was starting?
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, Chris. He offers ball running. He can run with the ball and get into, and allow that midfield to push up. He's definitely a viable option. I've always actually been quite particular with Faze, and I know he's become the Chilwell of the Leicester hate brigade or whatever. But for me, I'm sticking with my back pairing. But if he started, I'd be like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
he could be a player, Chris, that once all these windows shut, gets back into the mix of things. There's another player that might get back into the mix of things once all the windows are closed, but we'll get to that position when we need to.
Yes, indeed. What do you think about Faze's national manager?
He's a see you next Tuesday. He's the biggest see you next Tuesday I've ever known in all my life. How dare you have the arrogance to try and dictate what league a player should be playing in to get suggested to select for your country? Now, personally, for myself, from all I know about Belgium and his national appearances, Wout Faze isn't good enough for that Belgian side and shouldn't be in it right now, especially after last season and the way fans have been turning on him from his nationality side. But you should never try and dictate where he's playing his football, because guess what? You're burning your own words, mate. The arse clown did this last season, Chris, when we were in the Premier League. Oh, you need to go to a bigger club. Well, he was part and parcel of the collective reason we were second bottom of the fucking league, you moron. So we ain't going to get a bigger club. That's fake. And when we were in the Championship, Ars McGee spoke again. He needs to leave the Championship or I won't select him. How dare you dictate international status and whether they're good enough to play? It's bad enough having top 6 FC, England, right, who only pick from there and only play your outside top 6 when it's bloody Azerbaijan in a friendly on a Tuesday night or whenever it was, right? Yeah. Although props to the team that basically knocked Ireland out of the World Cup qualifiers. That was hilarious. But my point is, Chris, it's bad enough having that, knowing it's only going to be down. Fucking Belgium, mate. You ain't got many sprint chickens to pick from. Why should it matter if he's born in the Championship and you're not going to pick him? Stay out of club football business. Get in your fucking lane. If he's playing well, pick him. Don't be a tosser all your life. But I'm sitting on the fence, Chris.
Glad you're not sitting on the fence on that one.
No. I told you, foreign expenses. It's still a business idea for you, mate.
James said about Vestergaard, he is prime Maldini in the Championship, indeed, and he would start a Coley and Vestergaard. Look, and I wouldn't be annoyed with those two, certainly not. But I'd like to give Faze the opportunity on that. Right, let's go to your 2 centre backs, shall we?
Why? We already do centre backs.
Not 2 centre backs, 2 defensive midfielders.
Well, I mean, first of all, Chris, just you're going to have to remind me because I'm going to confuse the pair of them or which one's which. Is Ramsey the central defensive midfielder?
Can I just say that I am just checking that because I did exactly the same thing earlier in the prediction show. Aaron James is an attacking central midfield, midfield, and the other guy, which is of course Jordan James, who is Welsh stroke English, dual nationality. He is a central midfielder stroke defensive stroke attacking. So he's more the defensive one of the two.
Right. Very versatile. Love that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get straight to that one. It's JJ. JJ. He is one of the CDMs. Do you want me to rip the Band-Aid off and give you both so you can put one in the side they
No. Talk to me about Jordan James. I am going to say that I am totally except pleased that when he's coming up with the clubs, it's this is FIFA from last year. I would have him on 100%.
Yeah. First of all, Now, go
Why
on.
get somebody in? So why get somebody in and then not pick them? The guy is obviously fit. He's just come back from playing for Wales in the qualifiers. He's not injured. No, it's not James. Although I am sure if Steve Cooper was still manager, it could have been. But and when you look at the alternatives, you're going to look at Skip. You're going to look at Winks. And all right, there's an argument maybe for putting Winks as to one of those two, but I'm sorry, this guy, he tore us apart a couple of seasons ago when we played Birmingham. He scored a great goal against us. Why not start him?
Well, yeah, you've just made all the points you need, Chris, really. Bringing him in alone, I mean, unless he's an Odsonne Edouard, why wouldn't you pick him? You didn't go for all this aggro to get these deals done to not give them a start in here. I don't know if the conditions are the same as JC, our striker, with an option to buy. I think
this guy, we've got an option to buy.
Oh, brilliant. So you want to make an impression both ways, don't you? He wants to impress, potentially move to us. Is that a mandatory or is that an obligation to buy?
An option.
Okay, so that's good then.
Yes, James Page is being assessed. He's being assessed tomorrow or before the game.
Yeah, so again, he wants to impress. He's going to want to, if he wants to come back to England and use Leicester as an option to sneak back in there and then get his name, noted down. He's going to want to impress, and he's going to be hungry to do it, Chris. And this, again, looking at the opposition, this is the sort of opposition you want to be hungry right now to be playing against. There's two other options that I'm not even thinking about. One that you've turned against. Thank God for that. Eventually, you saw the light with him. And the other one right now is got this so far up that he can't see past his own shite. I think we know who I'm on about there. I did have a little bit of a rant about him against.
I think I know who you're on about.
Yeah, you've got it with a nice little eye flick.
I think that gives it away. Yes.
Yeah. He's got to go straight in, Chris. He's got to go straight in, and I'm sure with him being in and around the camp, he's eager to get going. And if you saw his interview, Chris, it seems a bit too strange to say something random like, "Oh, me and my dad were actually thinking, oh, you know what, that Leicester City side. If I went over to England." If they ever got interested in me, I reckon I'd fit right in there. And, he just seems to be the right fit for what we want.
He does.
There, Chris.
But who are you going to play alongside him?
Booba. It's Boubacar. It's got to be. He's been brilliant. Now, I don't know if someone noticed this, Chris, but someone said he gets the ball away a lot and went and had 98% accuracy. Someone on these streams went and said, again.
Oh, that was in the post-match, wasn't it?
Yeah, somebody said Samari gave the ball away a lot and had 98% pass accuracy. But again, he is continuing his redemption arc, and this is not faked. It was not Photoshop, Chris. He actually smiled in a team picture, Chris. There is living proof of Samari smiling in a team photo.
Yeah.
So I think he's been solid, Chris. We'll speculate nearer the time next season on contracts running out, expiring, deals, potentially new deals, whatever. But right now, Chris, he's got to be on your tip of your tongue for whilst there's a certain winker, still throwing his toys out the pram, and the other one lives up to his last name, should be in her. So figure that one out. He's first choice. He's got to be first choice for this position. And if you argue with me, Chris, we're going to fall out.
Well, get ready to fall out then, because I'm going to argue with you.
All right, just
You've gone off camera because I know you're going to agree with me. You'll be nodding with everything I say. Tomare has improved this season. Yes, James, you're right. Tomare has improved this season, but let's be honest with you. It's like it's like poo improving on diarrhea.
No,
Because
come on.
no, it was absolutely awful. We had Ayew beating him running back to defend, and he was a defensive fucking midfielder. Has he done anything to change my mind? No, he's been okay, and he's had a good run because obviously at the start of the season, Marty went him and Skipper, my two defensive midfielders. No, he's not. Now, the reason that I wouldn't put him in there is because I would have Hamza in there because Hamza's main position is a defensive midfielder.
No.
So get him in there, let him do what he does best next to Jordan James, and I think you've got a really, really good defensive midfield there to protect the back four, especially when you've got Ricardo and Thomas going forward. I would love that. I'm sorry, Samare, like I say, I wouldn't argue that he's better than he was, but, it's like shit poo improving on diarrhea, I'm afraid.
Wow.
Go on, argue with me. Let's see your face. You've been nodding away while you've been off camera. Yes, you have. No. I know Brad. I've known Brad now. How many years?
Too long.
Too long. Was it before we actually even won the Premier League that we started?
No, I think it was it just afterwards, or was it when we won the? No, I don't remember doing shows with you when we won the Premier League in the season. Just maybe, not. But still.
But can you? I'm not saying then that you agree with me, and I have put your choice up there. But can you see my logic? Is what I'm saying, or asking.
No, I can't. I don't know why you take a solid performer out of the squad in a position. I could have, if we hadn't got JJ in that middle part and we hadn't got him in, I could understand you putting him in there alongside Samare, but I can't see another reason for you not picking Samare apart from taking Weasel Winks out of the naughty cupboard back in the side.
Has he been that good though?
Yeah, Chris. You're a lover of stats. Just saying, you know what his stats were.
Having a good game or two does not make you, primetime Messi.
No, but if he has a good 3 games and then a good 4 games and a good 5 games, Chris, you can't turn around to someone and go, well, you've had a good run, you've had a good few 2 games. I'm just going to drop you now completely. My name's Ruud van Nistelrooy.
I think Samare though was in there because Marty did not want to pick Winks. Also,
woeful Winks. That's more for Winks.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he shouldn't do it. I agree with him because I like Marty standing up to players. But James, well, I've answered your question there, haven't I? Hamza Chowdhury is a defensive midfielder, right? That's his. In fact, I'm just going to type it in here into Hamza Chowdhury. Defensive midfielder. That is his main role. Defensive midfield, central midfield, and right back. Those are his, like I say, his defensive midfielder, his main position, central and right back are his 2 alternatives. And I think, like I say, square pegs in square holes. But I'm putting him in there because I put Ricardo at right back. So that's why. But we'll agree to disagree again. I'm not going to say that I'm always right, and that would be wrong of me to say that.
Your opinion is wrong.
There we go. Yourself, all done.
No, I was doing that for you. Right. Let's go to the attacking midfielder, which I think I know where this might be going.
Yeah, it's Aaron Ramsey for the same reasons, because you've got to have the new loanee in. I know he's not with an option to buy, but it doesn't make a blind bit of difference. And if both clubs waive each other at the end of May, you could be potentially making this a permanent feature. And how do you do that? You leave an impression. Obviously, he has to do that himself. But if he goes back to Burnley in May and they're coming down to the Championship and Leicester on the way up, and Marty goes, I want to bring you with me, by the way. He might go to Burnley. Yeah, make it happen then.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I can understand Burnley not wanting to let him go.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Dan, who I had on the channel a couple of shows ago, I messaged him when we were thinking of getting him early on deadline day. And he said, he's been injured for a long time, but he is a good, solid player, and this would probably be good for him. He's already scored a goal against Derby, so we already love him. And I think you've got to play him. All right, if Page, let's say, if Page is fit, do you stick with Page? Personally, I'd sooner go with Ramsey because he's got more experience.
I think you bring Page off the bench because it's a late fitness test, Chris, and I'm never, ever... I'm nervous when it's a late fitness test, or as it's going to be on the day test. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Hamza. I don't care if it's Stelarczyk. I don't care if it's my favourite Akoli. If he's not fit to play or not fully fit, which he clearly can't be if he's needing a late fitness test, you can't start him. Bring him on. When the damage is done, hopefully, and Leicester have maybe wrapped up the 3 points, and he's going to have a tired defence to run at and a bit of a bewildered, defence, then put Lewis Page on for 15, 20 minutes. I just think you've got to give the new guy a chance to get bedded in, and I wouldn't risk Page.
No.
But if Marty picks him in Marty, I trust, but I'm picking Ramsey in my side.
Yeah.
If I'm in charge.
James Hill says, didn't Ricky P start defensive mid when we won the Championship last time?
No, inverted wing back. Similar. I get where you're coming from, but that means he comes more into the middle to shut up the defense.
That would be the role that Hamza's doing now, and that Ricky P, I agree, at right back, he then turns into a defensive midfielder as that inverted right back. Sorry, James, maybe I should have said that. I automatically presumed, because that's how these 4-3-2-1 set up, is that you've got that inverted right back. So I would have done that. Right, okay, let's go to the left midfield player. No. Let's go right, because I think right is a more obvious one.
It's Fatwa, easiest. It's easy. You don't need to talk. You don't need to talk about anyone else. Even if Casey was still here, it wouldn't be a contest. I'm afraid it is Fatwa all the way. Abdul is the man. I know it's sad. I don't want to get to
you're the man. Football's coming home again. Sorry.
I mean, God, when someone like Chelsea make another 4 billion signings and they pay us 100 million for them, it's going to be heartbreaking but brilliant at the same time, because that's what it's going to become. By God, easy decision. It's
totally 100% agree with you. All right, we're going to start with him, but I think this might be a harder choice. He reminds me of Mahrez. Look, I think it's taken us until Fatawu, so I'm going back 2 seasons now, to actually got us to stop talking about Mahrez.
Yeah, because he offered us a different kind of flair, but you could see sparkles of it, Chris. And you've got to remember, I think he's 21 now. I'm not too sure, but he was 19 when he joined us on loan with that. And that was a niche mandatory thing. I know we had to get promoted, and I think he had to play a certain amount of games, which he did easily. It may have even been some goals and assist things. There was a lot of stipulations in it, but even back then, Chris, you saw something that kind of made fans go, "Yeah, we've got it now.
Yeah,
we've got it now." And
like you say, and he is only 21, which you forget. You know, he is mature. He has got that. I've beaten 3 players easily. I'm going to try a 4th, but loses the ball. He has got that in him.
yeah,
But then again, when you've been playing with a team as shit as we've been up until this season, you don't trust passing the ball. His value is only 11 million euros, which I think is a bit odd.
Well, he did just spend 9 months on the sideline, Chris, so they haven't really.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I've got to say, and look, how many players did we have where we're going with the right winger? Oh, he's not a Mahrez, is he? You know, that was an albatross round his neck, and finally we got this player Fatawu. Again, apart from Solarczyk and Ricardo, if he's fit, one of the first names. Who are you going to put on the other side? Now, this is going to be interesting, ladies and gentlefolk.
Funny enough, Chris, I think we're going to disagree on this because I know I saw a little bit of your show with Craig, and I know where your opinions stand on this player and how best to utilise him. And to a degree, I do get where you're coming from. But I'm going to now Uno reverse you here, Chris, because you talked about Ricardo and his pace and getting up Oxford early down that right-hand side with Ricardo and Fatawu. Well, if you get Luke Thomas pushing up, I want Jeremy Monga on the ball. I want him running at them. And I want him terrorising that defence for 70, 80, maybe even the full 90 minutes, Chris. Because you know who's on the bench. You've got a hungry, somewhat jealous, I guess, maybe annoyed, but in a good spirited way, Mavididi that's like, hold on a minute. This kid's getting in front of me regularly now. If I don't step up, I'm going to come up. And maybe he needs a Monga performance where he comes off and he goes, right, I've now got 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes to impress and really keep myself above water in the pecking order here. But I think that natural, no fear talent running at your defence with that front line, Chris, it has to be Monga because he just gives you that extra X factor, if you will, in your attack.
And I can't add him on, as you can see, and I've tried to put Mavididi in there to fill the space, but nothing's coming up for him. Oh, and then I've lost it altogether now. Right.
That game's gone. You can't even do football these days, can you, properly? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Look, I totally get what you're saying. And as James says there, that's the thing with Casey. He couldn't beat a man and take anyone on, and Fatawu can do that. I agree, and you would always pick Fatawu above McAteer, but McAteer was a great squad player. But we got 11 million for him, and I'm not going to knock that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Stefan Mavididi, look, when we were in the Championship last season, Mavididi and Fatawu, fuck me, you know, they were amazing. Mavididi has failed to live up to his promise, where Fatawu has. I would go.
Oh, he's thinking. This is dangerous, folks.
Yeah, this is true. The thing with Monga is that, look, if Monga was 18, I'd be starting him every game. The fact of the matter is he's 16.
What's that got to do with things? That's ages, Chris. That's ages.
No. Look, he's back at school now because the school holidays are over. If he wasn't at school, 18, stick him on, play him every week. I would love that. But we have to think that he has still got his school to consider.
Hasn't he finished now? He's 16.
No, they stay till you're 18 now.
Oh, they do now. God, that makes me feel even older knowing that. Yeah,
Yeah,
they do.
yeah. I left at 16, and I'm sure you did as well.
I was out of there. In fact, I actually technically wasn't even 16 when the exams finished. I was still 15. So
I couldn't wait to leave school. All this, to the best days of your life bullshit. Yeah, so that's my worry with Casey. With Casey, with Jeremy, is that you're not going to be able to play him every week. So we're going to have to pick and choose matches. However, I think this is a match that you do pick him.
well, there we go.
Because look at Oxford's form. You know, they've conceded 7 goals. They've not won a game yet. And I have to say, my other worry is the fact that he does seem to play better when he comes on against the tired defence. But he's going to have to get over that. He's not a super sub. You know, with his talent, we should be, looking at him and saying, he's got to be starting some games. This is a game, and I'm right at you. I left at 17, says James. What, did they chuck you out? But no, joking, James, you know that. But I think you've got to start in this game because he started against a very physical. Was it Charlton he started against?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
I know very physical, but there were half of his side. Looking at this Oxford side, I think this would be bread and butter for Jeremy, and I would have him starting totally 100%. Yeah. I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, and you go back to the Preston game where he came off the bench. I know that kind of goes back to what you were saying, Chris. The Preston fan was a bit wary about players running the defensive line for Preston. And look what happened in that game. I know we lost that game, but he came on and within the first 5 minutes, bish, bash, bosh, thank you very much. I've got my first league goal. And he terrified them. And he could have ended up turning the whole game on its head. It didn't, but he could have, Chris. And like you said, starting against Oxford, it's one of them games, Chris, where you could potentially go, oh, thank God Monger's number's coming up. Oh, for God's sake, now they're putting Mavadidi on. You know what I mean? Yeah. It could be one of them games where you think you've got rid of one and another one comes along and he's You
would also hope that if Mavadidi was picked, that he could have a decent game against this.
Yeah, I would hope so, Chris.
But no, look, let's put him there because there's certain games that you're thinking like, I mean, if we were playing Middlesbrough, let's say, who were top of the league, I would probably not start him. I'd bring him on against their tired defenders. But yeah, I think he's. I think James said, "I wish they did." I think you start Monger with this one. Okay, look, we've been wanting a new striker for absolutely ages. So, having a few years ago signed a Poku from America, who has been, what can I say? Who needs Jamie Vardy when you got a Poku? We've gone back to the American market, albeit via Feyenoord in between. Absolutely brilliant stats in America. Absolutely average and only dropped down to third choice for Feyenoord. Again, got the new striker Carranza on loan. We have got an option to buy him. And look, I know I wasn't keen on the goalkeeper, but everybody starts. I'm not going to, I'm going to criticise maybe some signings, but I'm not going to have a go at them until they kick the ball in anger. For me, Carranza starts because of the reasons I said earlier. Why get him in if you're not going to use him? Our only out and out striker is, God help us, Daka. And you've also got Ayew, but he's not really an out and out striker, and he could probably come on and replace Ramsey later on if we need him to hold the ball up. I'm going to start with Carranza, but do you start with Carranza, Brad?
I do, for the obvious reasons. He's on loan. We've got a very steady fee to pay for a striker of any division, really. You know, in the Championship or Premier League, that's a decent fee to be paying for a striker. Very cheap, very good deal. Well done, cheap rubber. You know, 5-6 million, whatever it is, whatever it turns out to be. If he's a success, he's going to look like a steal. My worry is, Chris. Yeah, he did great in America. Yeah, that's like winning the title with Celtic in the Scottish Premier League. Right now, it's a cakewalk. It's not hard to do. I mean, Bradley Wright Phillips, Sean Wright Phillips' brother, right, was a bang average player. He looked world class in America.
Yeah. Oh, God, that takes me back. I used to absolutely. I wish we'd signed Sean Wright Phillips. I think he was a really good player. Bradley, not so sure about. But look, you know, if you look at his scoring record in the Eredivisie, which is where we've got him from, 21 games, 4 goals, 1 assist. In the MLS, 112 games, 37 goals, 14 assists. Not your 35 goal a season striker, or even possibly your 20 goal. But let's be honest with you, he's not up against a lot. When you come to think we've got Daka there, this guy, you know, he hasn't got the Jamie Vardy thing hanging over him either, has he?
Very true. And this could turn out to be a masterclass. I mean, I turned around to you and said we've had the opposite go for work against us. You look at Kramaric, didn't get going here. Never happened behind the scenes. He goes to Hoffenheim, becomes a great success for them for the seasons he was there. I don't know if he's still playing. I think he might have retired now. But even if he isn't, he had a great 3-4 season spell with Hoffenheim. So it can work in the opposite effect. You come to England, you know, he could score. He could do a Chris Wood. He could score a hat trick on his debut. Bonus points if you know who he scored that hat trick against. Chris Wood, I'm on about. You know, he could come and do that. You could do that, and I hope he does do that, obviously. Or you could basically say you're upgrading Akinbaye with Trevor Benjamin.
Yeah. In fact, he is still playing, and he is still at Hoffenheim.
Okay, so he might have just faded from the news world of things, but I remember his first 2 or 3 seasons, he was doing great guns for him. You can tell.
Well, they've only played a couple of games this season, so
we won't judge him on that. But I'm sure his last few seasons have been really good for him. Have they not, Chris?
Well, they have. Yeah, they have. We always say he's the one that got away.
Yeah, and you could argue that anyway. And we've had a few players where they've not really done well here, then they've gone abroad and they've done well. But again, this could be the reverse, the Uno reverse effect of that. If you want, he could come to Leicester and go banging 15 goals, and then Van Persie's going, wait, is he the final manager? Is he the one? Because I think that's the one.
He is, yes. Yeah, he is, yeah.
He tried to sign Vardy, and Vardy kind of gave him one of them, didn't he? Yeah. But I feel like, Van Persie could be sat there going, oh, shit.
A quick last question then, and we are coming up to the 2-hour mark, so I've got to sort of end at the 2 hours, otherwise I can't.
Yeah, no worries. Don't forget me quick 5, and then we'll be quick. They're easy questions, so we'll do that
very quickly. How long before somebody goes, God, Vardy wouldn't have missed that.
Oh, his first glaring miss.
I know, that's the worry.
His first half-decent chance that you're begging him to score.
We went through 4 or 5 right wingers before we stopped saying, Mahrez wouldn't have done that. Mahrez would have done that. And I just think, he's gone, Vardy, but I think his shadow looms large. Yeah, okay, look, we're going to end with a bit of fun. Maybe for you, not for me. I think, thank God, I've only got to go true or false, I think, haven't I?
Yeah, you have.
And James has just said as well, yes, his first miss. You just know it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, the Birmingham fan was the first one to go and not get a full house, Chris. And I do keep these generally easy because they're supposed to be fun. They're not supposed to be difficult. So, just for you, Chris, question 1. In 1873...
Jesus.
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. These are very simple, very fun. You should
You
get
weren't even formed then. You know?
Just I at it, Chris. No, these should be very simple true or false questions. I expect you to get at least. I've got one that I try and slip you up on with a dodgy question, but you should relatively get at least 4 out of 5, if not 5 out of 5. So,
Okay.
5 Foxes, fact or fiction? Leicester City originated as Leicester Foxes. So we're Leicester City now, but we
Do I
originated.
say I answer true or false? Do I?
Yeah. Yes.
That's false.
Yes, we originated as Leicester Foss.
False indeed. And I'd love us to be called that now.
I know, right? Now this one will make you chuckle, Chris, because of the show we're doing right now. Leicester City signed Matt Elliott from Oxford United.
True.
Correct. I was tempted to put Crow Alexandra, but that was Robbie Savage and say it was false.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this one, give it a think. This one. So far, James, you are correct as well. Question 3. Emil Heskey's last game for Leicester coincided with Stan Collymore Leicester City's home debut.
Oh, now I know what I want to say, but I don't know if it was his last game or not, because that was the one that got away, and those two together would have been bloody amazing.
You know, it's my dream partnership, a what if scenario that one was.
Yes, yeah. I'm going to say true.
You'd be correct, Chris. It was true. Bonus points. Can you remember the game?
Yes, we played Sunderland. I think we beat them 5-2. It was at Filbert Street. Stan Collymore got a hat trick, although his third goal he did kind of scuff it. He had a bullet header, and we had just come off the back of winning the League Cup, and we paraded the League Cup at that game as well. Which Stan Collymore didn't play in because he was cup tied.
He was cup tied.
How many points do I get for all of that?
Still just one. Because I can also tell you a fun fact about that game as well. It was Heskey's last goal for the club because he scored along with Stefano.
If it was his last game, of course it would be his last goal.
Well, no, because he might not have scored in that game. Yeah, see, show off.
But he did score.
No, but that's what I meant. That's what I was saying. His last game also happened to be the last goal he scored. Fucking right. Back to the easy ones. That was a little slip up because I think some people might have been thinking that it was beforehand.
Well, I did have to think, to be honest with you, because
initially the search comes up with Coventry, but it's saying it's Coventry, and it isn't Coventry because that was months and months before the game. They got it wrong. Yeah. But I've done that question before, and someone argued with me. Anyway, question 4. We'll run out of time. Easy one. This one. Filbert has. That's the fox, the mascot. Filbert the fox has an Uncle Dennis.
False.
He has a sister called Vixen.
Cousin, isn't it? Cousin called Vixen.
He has a cousin called Dennis. Correct, Chris. It's not. He is the uncle. He is his uncle, but Filbert's his uncle, not the other way around. No, what's it?
Really? So there is a Dennis the fox, is there?
There is. There's a cousin Dennis.
Oh, wow.
They used to do, Chris, I don't know if you remember it in the good 90s, they used to have a little 3 or 4 block comic section at the bottom of the team. They used to have the team name there and the formation and how it was going to line up, and a little comic strip at the bottom of it.
I never knew Dennis. I knew Vicky. That's why I said false. Well, I got it right somehow, but
he was cousin Dennis, and they still, I know this from working there, they still have the outfits.
Wow.
They still have the outfits kept. So they could make a return. Vicky and Dennis.
Bring back Dennis. Bring back Dennis.
Exactly.
free the Leicester one.
I know, right? Right, last one. This is a little bit trivial, but again, you should really know this to be either fact or fiction. Leicester once had to play a home game in their away kit versus Brighton because a kit error?
I think I remember it, but I can't remember the reason why. But I am going to go true.
Chris? Unlike in the predictions league, you managed to get top marks, my friend. You were right. And the reason behind it is the Brighton kit man made a mistake and only packed Brighton's home kit, which, as you know, is predominantly blue.
Oh, it was played. Sorry, I was thinking it was played at Brighton.
No, we played at the King Power. It was a boring 0-0 game. I actually went to the game and I actually went home ill because I wasn't feeling that great. It was 0-0, and it was when we were sponsored by Topps Tiles.
Oh, God.
It came out in our yellow and blue arms.
Yeah, oh, I love that kit, yeah.
Which was baffling, because why didn't we let Brighton play in the fucking yellow kit? We played in our yellow kit and let them have the home kit. It was the most bizarre thing, but well done, Chris. I gave you 2 slight banana skins there, but you passed the trials.
5 out of 5. Bring it on. Am I joint top then?
Yeah, good news, you joined top. Bad news is so are 3 others.
I'll take it. Believe you me, I'll take it. Where's the Oxford fan, by the way?
What's that?
Where's the Oxford fan?
Oh, well, he's bottom, actually. So you are joint top. Birmingham fan's gone second, and default Oxford fan last. Yeah. We need to do a league table, Chris. I'm keeping an eye on the scores. You can circle yourself into this, because I thought of the idea, unfortunately, after the Sheffield Wednesday fan. So if we get the same Sheffield Wednesday fan on, I will do it in the reverse fixtures. We'll see how it goes. It'd be nice to keep going. But there you go, Chris. Right, shoot, come on, 2 hours.
Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate you coming. Well, appreciate me coming on to help you out. I've been really good, haven't I?
Go on, and appreciations to the Oxford fans that all turned up in their drones to support you. Well done, Oxford.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
The one that obviously he would have if he wasn't doing what he was doing. That's
My mate, he where he is, it's actually sort of middle of the afternoon, and he'll be in a meeting.
Yeah, which is you can't. That is life is life.
Apart from him, everybody else.
Yeah.
Cheers, buddy. I don't know if I'll see you on Saturday. I think you might be working. With it being an early kickoff.
What day are we on today? We're on Thursday. No, I'm off actually.
If you'd like to come on post match, bring guests on as well.
I can't, mate. I'll tell you about something. I'll tell you that.
Right, mate. Okay, thanks very much. Thanks to everybody that's been in the chat. James, you didn't quite get 5, but well done for having a go, mate. Well done.
Well done, James. I'll give you the Oxford bonus point to give you 5. How's that sound?
and we'll be back tomorrow at 7:00 when we will be reviewing what Marty said today. I will see you then. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Thanks, Brad. And I'll see you all tomorrow.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.